Dobrodošli u 170. Žiška podcast. Moje ime je Gornjan Kuloski i danas nismo ništa pripremili za vas. Nego smo se malo privalili drugima. Naime, možda ste primetili da su dve naše najveće marketinške strukovne organizacije, IA za advertising i IAB za digital, ove nedelje organizovale promociju svoje dve nagrade, EFI-a i Mixa. I to nam je dalo genijalnu ideju da jednog od govornika koji dolazi kao promociju ove dve nagrade dovedemo u naš podcast. I zbog toga je sa mnom danas Angel Iskrav iz Bugarske. I sad se ja prebacujem na engleski da bi on mogao da me razume, pošto pretpostavljamo da srpski razume samo u narednim pesmama. My guest today is Angel Iskrav, creative director at Proof, also a board member of IAB Bulgaria. And your talk that you're scheduled to give here is called Award Means Business, How Advertising Awards and IAB Mix in particular can help you drive business opportunities in your agency. Angel, welcome to Belgrade and welcome to Žiška podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And I understand some Serbian because I'm following this amazing Instagram in Serbia, we say, and I think it's beautiful. This Instagram profile is my favorite. So basically, I love Belgrade, and you make a lot of great Dunja Rakija. Thank you very much for having me.
Vi slušate Žiška podcast.
So basically, your knowledge of Serbian culture boils down to Instagram memes and Rakija.
Basically, yes.
I don't think there is anything more to learn anyway. Let's start.
Yeah.
First, to clear up the temporal differences, we're filming on a Tuesday. You're giving your talk tomorrow on Wednesday, but this episode will actually go out the week after that on Saturday. So we will be mixing tenses the entire time. We will be speaking as you have already said, or as you will be speaking, etc., etc. But just bear in mind that time is a blur with this particular episode. So our topic for today is creative awards in general. What do they mean for clients? What do they mean for agencies? What do they mean for the industry? But then, in particular, IAB Mix, which is the way we connected, and how it has affected your agency in particular. So maybe start there. Like, how did IAB Mix help Proof become a success that it has become?
I think that Proof is really connected with the IAB Mix Bulgaria because when we started at the end of 2018, together with my partner Sava, we were like thinking what to do, what is the right festival to go, because we got this great work as freelancers. We were both in the biggest agencies in Bulgaria, but we started our own at the end of 2018. So basically we were COVID native. And then we saw IAB Mix, and it's kind of symbiosis between creative festival and then you have results-driven judgment. It's basically EFI, so it's some kind of creative plus effectiveness plus digital, which is modern. And then we saw this opportunity and entered the Mix Awards in 2018. And suddenly we won Most Awarded Agency of the Year, and that was booming. And from there, they started. The clients started asking for us, like pitching us, giving us direct projects such as Telos International Bulgaria. Then we became Most Awarded Agency in 2019 again, and 2020, 2022. And then in 2022, we were awarded Most Awarded Agency in Europe. So we are really connected with Mix. We started our creative road with this festival, and it's really something that it's part of our DNA.
But you've also scaled it to the European level.
Yep.
You've managed to become the most awarded agency for IAB Europe, if I'm correct.
Yep, Mix Europe.
So how did you do that from, I suppose that Bulgaria is somewhat of a limited market, much like Serbia. And whenever I talk to my colleagues here, like, why can't we do better? The number one reason they usually give me is, well, we cannot do better when our market is like this.
Yeah, maybe, but I think that the creativity is a sport, and the creative work is a muscle. You have to train your creativity, and the stage, the competition is a Words Festival, and then in 2019 we were like, okay, what's going to be the next one, and we looked through our work, and one of the works stood out. It won 2 silvers and 3 bronze, not a gold. We won 2 golds with another campaigns, and me and my partner we were like, okay, we're entering this work, and was a really niche client, escape room business, and really niche execution. I'm gonna show this tomorrow, and it went to the shortlist. And we were like, okay, we're not that bad. And then we trained ourselves, we train our muscle, we train our creativity. And after that, in the second edition we won the first gold. And yeah, after that,
So-
a lot of work won again, and again.
If I gather correctly, one of the advices is if you're not competing, and if you're not competing regularly somewhere, then no kind of market is going to save you.
Yep, and it's not the market that it's kind of the barrier. It's in your mind. The barrier is in your mind, and if you don't enter international award shows or international acclaimed award shows, you're gonna stay in your market, in your position. So basically, we're trying to push further and further. Right now, our main goal are four festivals all around the world, and this is Cannes Lion, the One Show, Clio, and then the Holy Grail, the Andy.
Does that do all creative awards that you've just outlined, do they lead to business opportunities?
That's for sure, and we grew a lot because of awards. And one example is Telos International. After we won our first most awarded agency in 2018, the brand manager wrote me on Messenger, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna propose a direct project for you tomorrow at a meeting. And then we started to work with them, and the first project was really hard. The premise was, let's try and bring back Bulgarians that are working in abroad in Europe, and then bring them back to work in Telos, which is this is a huge, really hard task to solve. And then we brought back 15 Bulgarians to work in Telos, which is amazing result. It sounds really small, but it's amazing result. And it won our first Effie, silver Effie. And then it was the first gold at the Up Mix Europe, and it won on, I think, 16 international awards. And then we had another campaign. It won gold at Effie, Bulgaria, and 25 international awards. And then they pitched us for global, and we won it.
But maybe to be careful not to overpromise. It's not that you win an award and then stonks and then like success
No, it's not like
happens.
that.
It's a little bit more nuanced than that.
Yep. It's all about the work. It's all about the passion. It's all about your ambition, and it's all about, the independent agency that you are and we are. It's kind of gold. You are built on ambition, and the passion. It drives great work. The one and only thing that matters is doing great work.
But what is the role of the awards then? I believe I do great work. You may not believe I do great work. And as you generally know, there are many different types of people in our industry. There are those that will always have your back. You're always cool. But there are those that say that nothing you ever do is good enough. So once you get that stamp of approval from your colleagues, how do you feel?
it shows that you're on the right road. But I think that our industry, because it's kind of ego driven sometimes, it could be really toxic. That's why I believe in international jury. Like, I was the man that proposed EAP Mix Bulgaria to be with only international jurors, which happened 3 years ago. And I think that when the jury is wholly independent and wholly international, you can check this out and you can check your work with them. And if it's good enough, you can enter another market, another international festivals.
Yeah, I have two problems with that. Like, I respect the idea that they will be more objective. That's for sure. But also, they don't have enough sensitivity. Like, I don't think they would instinctively realize how hard it is to get 15 Bulgarians back into Bulgaria, and how relevant that problem is.
But then again, Mix Europe understood the jurors and award this work with
Maybe
with GOAT.
them,
Yeah, because in Cannes Lion, you're like 15 people in the room, like, then they're judging, and they're judging work from Palau. They have to search for Palau on Google Maps where it is, but they awarded this work with Grand Prix. I'm not sure that I think that we are underestimating them.
And the second thing is, how does everybody locally then progress? Like, if we don't trust our creative leaders and our top of the industry people, that they can work on their objectivity. Like, when do they do that? Like, then they do it in the next EAP Mix, or they do it on a local festival, or how?
I think that the greatest example on the Balkans is Romania. They canceled their local festival, and they have EAP Mix Romania with totally international jury, and they have EFI also, but they canceled their creative festival, and they won Cannes Lion after that. It's kind of changing your mindset, going from local to global, doing great work on local level, but easily transferable to global market, understandable for the global market, and it's kind of freeing up your creativity.
So let's move to the client side now. We've talked about how it's important for the agency. We talked about how it's important for the industry. What's your experience? How do clients perceive creative awards?
I think that they are like really happy when they won award, but the thing that really matters is the results and the client agency relationship. We work with people. If you like the people in the client side and they like you, your people in the agency, it's going to be a great, fruitful relationship. We have this one with our clients, and when the relationship is not great, okay, it's not working. But the awards, we don't have like clients that are like, okay, we have to win that, we have to win it. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. It's only one client that has this as a KPI in our agency. It should be like that. The client, the brand manager, the marketing director, they have to look for effectiveness, for results, and creativity drives results.
Yeah, but in creative work, it's not always particularly clear what the resulting KPI should be. Like, it's wonderful when you have like 15 Bulgarians are back. Like, that's very clear result. Yeah. But most of the time we're like trying to build brand love towards a certain campaign that then, when it reaches a certain threshold, will then long-term impact the sales of the brand, for example. And then you have a certain campaign or a certain activation, and then you have other campaigns as well, and then you need to differentiate how each channel or each campaign is actually contributing to the long-term goal. It's not that particularly easy. And this is why I think awards are important, because you are adding another layer to the results that if they can be measured, awesome. Yeah. But you're giving another layer of here's how I've done the work, and the way I've done the work, the process has been quality.
Yep. That's for sure. Award shows, they don't give awards to job well done. They give award to exceptional work, a work that we've never seen before, and it should be like that. We are not awarding job well done. Job well done is only the standard. It has to be the standard of each and every agency. Job well done is our work. Then step further. What is the next? What is the exceptional thing in there? Sir John Haggerty, he says that there is nothing original. There is only fresh take of the thing that already been done, and I think he's really right. You can argue with with Sir John Haggerty, but I think that we are not awarding job well done, right? It's exceptional work. That's why award shows matters for us, and I think for the industry.
I think that Dave Trott is among the people who are among a growing number of industry professionals that have come out and said that creative awards, just like Cannes Lions, for example, has become too much focused on novelty, too much focused on exceptionalism, and too much focused on impressing the creative jury and not delivering on the results. How do you feel about that?
I think it should be like that. It shouldn't be like, okay, we started working on that project just for award's sake. I think that we should award exceptional works. If we are awarding effectiveness, there are a lot of categories with creative effectiveness in the title. And then again, there is Effie. And I think Effie, it's different. I love Effie, and I adore winning on Effie. It's kind of something different because, you've been there, you've been in the jury, and it's really hard to win Effie, and it's really hard to enter Effie. It's really hard to write down the case study of Effie. So basically,
when you stepped into it, the most challenging thing about an Effie application is that creative agencies have a process of doing creative cases, and it's mostly the same for every creative award. Maybe it's details are different. But doing an Effie application is completely different than doing any other creative awards. And there is absolutely no way you can do an Effie application without the client being directly involved. That doesn't mean we've sent you the brief and we sent you the links. It needs to be a co-creation between the client and the agency.
Yeah, it should start with meeting with the client, and then analysis of the results, and then etc. etc. And this year, 2022, it was my first year trying to write a Effie case study, and I got so in love with that, and I was like waking up at 4 a.m. and writing, and then deleting and writing and deleting, because it's kind of the industry standard, and it makes you better and better and better. If you can write a better entry for Effie, you're a better pro. And I really like this festival. And if we can go back to the creative festivals, I think that the thing that is really going to be the next big thing, it's so all of a sudden, after this pandemic and then the war and etc., all this kind of brand purpose driven campaigns and this sadness in the campaign, I think that the next thing that is going to win big, it's advertising with fun, with funny kind of execution activations. This is the next big thing, and I think it's going to be for 2 or 3 years. It's going to be here.
I really hope so, because if I hear another soft piano playing, dun 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 dun, dun, and this is why we here at Žižka really appreciate when whatever you'll be doing, buy from us.
Yeah, and it starts with this piano, and then really sad notes and data, and etc. It should be like this, but then again, I was at the jury panel for the one show. and Felix Richter from Mother London. He's former Droga 5, and we got like four entries for best of show, and we had to choose from there. And he was like, okay, let's award something that it's really different. Let's award something that it's not sad, it's not brand purpose, there is no cause in there. Let's award something that it's just funny. And I think that this is the next thing. I hope so.
I hope so too. Okay, so if the award is good for the work, then why do you think it's bad to start with an award in mind? Because I don't have a client that has winning an award as their KPI, but I've had several clients kind of casually mention it. Maybe put a joke in there, but one of those jokes that you're not completely sure if it's a joke or not.
It's a KPI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are upsides to that and there are downsides to that. But how do you see that?
I think it's not the right way to go if you think only for awards. But if you can imagine in a brainstorming session that this idea that it's kind of in the air right now, you can imagine it on a case study, that's great. Because it's something fresh. If you can imagine the case study right away, this is kind of a tool to measure, is this idea great enough or is it this idea fresh enough? But if you start kind of thinking on a project just to win awards, you're gonna lose the client.
Yeah, I think that it depends on what the client is actually saying when they say that. Like, if you're saying, let's just win an award without changing the process at all, then it's not going to work, definitely. Yeah. But if, for example, you are currently working under a bad process and everybody's lost and doesn't know how to come up with good ideas for the campaign, they don't know what the criteria are, they don't know how the channels are supposed to gel together, they don't know what the expectations are, what the budgets are, what the resources are, what they can play with. If everything that is true, then somebody comes up and says, let's do a campaign that can, for example, win an EAB mix. Then I'm like, good. Now I know what the criteria are. Now I know how a good campaign is supposed to look like. Now I know how to give you feedback on your feedback, because that's not going to win us an EAB mix. Because when you say, for example, I don't know, maybe go and find 3 more influencers, I'll say, nope, we don't need 3 more influencers. We need to work on the main idea. It's not strong enough yet.
Yeah, you're right. But this is kind of a nuance. It's not giving you a KPI, we have to win. It's kind of our future campaign should be as good as winning at the up mix, which is different. And that's why shows are so helpful. This is kind of the standard, and we need to be as good as the standard or better, just to win, I don't know, GOAT at the Up Mix Europe.
Yeah, one thing that I've learned about all creative awards, whether it's the Up Mix, whether it's any other creative award, or Effie for that matter, is that it only works in the laws of large numbers. So if you don't have a lot of cases, if you don't have a lot of applications, if you're putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, and if you're saying, oh, I have this great, awesome campaign, and that's gonna win, and then you do maybe 2 applications, it's unlikely that you're going to win. Only once you have, you're doing so much work, and that's especially important for a particular client. You need to have 5 different cases that are competing.
Or maybe more.
In order for that work on that client to become recognizable and to become benchmark, and for everybody else in the industry to be like, oh, Žižka is doing client X, and I know because I've seen 5 different applications of the way they are doing it, and then I respect their work.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but we are part of BIDO Network, which is a global network of independent agencies. And Per Pedersen, who passed away this January, He was our global chief creative officer, great guy. And he came to me and said, I can see the ingredients of a great work, but you're all over the place. Because I've sent to the Creative Council like 15 cases. And he was like, no, concentrate on 2 works or 3 and make them amazing, make them great, make them feel like exceptional. And I'm not sure which is the right answer, because the first year we won like with 5 cases, then the second year we won with 15, and then we have like 30. And I'm not sure which is the right thing to do, which is the right road to go. Maybe for the biggest award shows internationally, it's one thing and you're gonna focus on that and enter only that, but kind of make the case study flawless. But winning here on the local, you have to have a lot of work. That's for sure.
It's an inherent contradiction that exists in every creative work. In order to get good at any creative work, you need to produce a lot of individual pieces of work. So if you want to become a good writer, you need to write 100 stories. You need to write thousands of pages. You need to write in order to get good at writing. And then the opposite becomes true. Then once you reach certain knowledge and certain skill, then you need to switch the tables and say, okay, now I need to focus on producing the best result I can possibly.
Yeah.
And that's, for example, when you look at your case study afterwards, after a while, and then you see, oh, Jesus, we totally fucked this particular bit up because I didn't pay enough attention then.
Yeah, it should be like that. It has to kind of drive cringe in your veins, you know. I'm gonna show a case study, this case study for bringing back Bulgarians from abroad, and it really sucks. I can't stand it. It's really not in our standards right now, but it won in Europe. And for me, your comparison with the writing. My comparison is with sport. You can train your creativity. You can be on the international stage. First the local one, and then you have the regional one, and then you have the international one, and you have like, okay, I'm gonna start with the regional international awards, and then I'm gonna move on to the Epic Awards, and then I'm gonna move to Clio, and then I'm gonna move to I don't know, Cannes Lions, and then the Holy Grail D&D. It's the same thing. It's kind of Novak Djokovic. He started, like regional, and then first it was national, then regional, and right now Novak.
Don't worry, I'm not completely knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't follow tennis, but I know who he is.
Yeah, but it's creativity is a sport.
Okay, if it's a sport, then why are so many people sore losers? That is to say, after every creative awards, there are those who celebrate, there are those who tap you on the back, and there is always a bunch of gossip like, oh my god, this particular award shouldn't be won by that particular case, etc.
I don't know, because it's creativity is ego-driven business, maybe sometimes.
What do you think that creativity is an ego-driven business? Why are we so ego-driven in creativity?
I don't know, because to be a good creative director, you have to be ego-driven. I think it's better to be like that. But then again, in Bulgaria, like the industry is it might be really toxic. This year, 2022, we won Creative Agency of the Year, and it was kind of gossip all around. People sharing on social that we didn't deserve that. People like saying we deserve it. It was kind of why this is happening. So we've decided just to stop entering the local festival and try to enter only international awards and awards with international jury. And I think it should stop, because if we are kind of helping each other in the industry and trying to make our case study better, kind of you're sending me over, I don't know, WhatsApp chat. Hey, Angel, look at this case study. It's really draft. Can you check it out? And I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, of course, I'm gonna check it out for you, Goran. And I'm doing that with a lot of people in the Baidu network. They send us draft case studies. I've sent them ours and etc. And people in Bulgaria also help my friends, creative directors. This is the type of beat that I'm looking for, like helping each other to become better sportsmen, like, you know.
I have a theory about the ego-driven thing.
Okay.
Have you ever tried explaining to a junior copywriter why their idea doesn't work? It's immensely difficult. Like, I sometimes feel I need to break the universe down into its component parts and then explain the details of matter in order to tell you that the copy doesn't work.
Yep.
If I really want to be honest about it and give you an objective reason, it's much simpler to just say, this is stupid. And like say it in a confident way and say, nope, I'm telling you this is stupid. And you take that onto your ego. If you go with ego, then it's much easier to explain, it's much easier to cut, it's much easier to go forward in the creative process. However, on the flip side, if you do that too much, you usually start become an egomaniac, and then you start doing too much of that, and then you start believing your own bullshit, and then in the end you're
falling down.
Yeah.
It's different. You can go to egomaniac person because you're gonna downfall yourself, right? And if you're ego-driven creative director, that's great, because ego-driven means a lot of ambition and etc. But this junior copywriter, he or she should understand something, and it is really, really simple. You can fall in love with your pieces, with your work, because it's teamwork. That's it. And you can fall in love with your work because it's not your work, it's our work.
Why are there so many awards in advertising, you think? Like, I somehow, like when I talk to my friends that work in sales or accounting, they don't tend to have awards for creative
Best accountant of the year, right?
I mean, they exist, but they're much less relevant than they are with us.
I don't know why. Mostly because it's business. Mostly because our industry is sport. Mostly because our industry is kind of ego-driven, and we need to show our work. But the greatest shows out there, I think, are doing great job for the industry, like Cannes and D&D. They still showing us what's the standard, and the standard was kind of brand purpose driven campaign, and right now I'm hoping it's the funny thing driven campaign. So basically, I don't know why are so many, and we are kind of selecting right now which one are the most promising and the most, I don't know, acknowledged in international level, and we're gonna cut some to participate in the others.
I once heard an argument, and I'm curious what you think about it. In creative industries, we've thought that the clients are our enemies, clients from hell, and we put up walls between us and the clients, and then we try to break down that walls in order for the cooperation to be better. At the same time, there's that beef between the accounts and the creatives, that in every agency, like there are two opposing sides. At the same time, like every creative is working in an agency, there's the agency management structure that it's also juxtaposed to the creatives. So at the end, being a creative in an agency is inherently lonely work. And the most important recognition you can get as an agency person in an agency is for another creative person from another agency to tell you you've done good work. And this is why there are so many creative awards, because it's basically other people who are creative tapping us on the back and saying, "I got you, bro."
Yeah, this is great, bro. Saying yes from your peers that are really kind of, I don't know, competitors of yours. Maybe this is the thing that drives you a lot, drives your I don't know, ambition to do great things. But personally, I don't believe in that. I believe that in the agency, the creativity should be the standard. The strategic guys, they should be creative. The creatives, they do that for money, right? And also the account team, they should be creative judgment. And we have this amazing girl. We did a campaign for NGO Code Nevidimi, and there were like lines after on the video because we shot a worker for a fur farm as a witness. And the first 3 lines, they were like really different, and she saw a line that wasn't supposed to be there, and the creatives were like, "Oh, that's great, thank you very much, Titi." And this came from our account director. I think that creativity should be the standard.
But is it true in a creative agency, when you introduce proof, you say we're a creative agency? For example, Zizka introduces also themselves as a creative agency. But not every agency will say they're a creative agency. Some will say we're an integrated communications agency. Some will say
360 degrees agency that do like great work. I think that
some will say they're, for example, performance oriented,
Yep.
media buying. Like there are plenty of
I think
other
that
approaches.
With ChatGPT or etc., creativity is going to be even more priceless, because the worst copywriters, they will not exist, and the greatest one will be kind of even greater after this ChatGPT, for example. But then again, our business is trying to sell air, and you have to sell the best air, and it's creativity.
Have you heard that the ChatGPT, not the ChatGPT, but the DALL-E, the other version, the one for the image generation? Have you heard that it's won an art contest?
No, never.
Someone introduced the work that's been done through DALL-E into an art contest, and it won an award. Do you think that eventually someone might do the same on an advertising festival, on a creative advertising festival?
Yeah, it might be. I've saw a lot of, not a lot of, but I've saw campaigns written by AI, and it won. But it won because of the creative premise of writing advertising with AI.
I don't know if you have you happened to catch Ryan Reynolds doing a Mint Mobile ad?
Yep,
with ChatGPT.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's actually an awful ad, except for one thing. The premise of the joke is that Mint Mobile is still running their promo once all the big competitors have finished theirs. So, Christmas promo for large telcos, it was done on January 1st. But because Mint Mobile is real friend of the customers, their promotion is still going on.
Yep.
So, that's the creative idea then. And once you feed the creative idea into ChatGPT, then it can easily like write down the script. But the general creative idea was given by the Mint Mobile team, the Ryan Reynolds team. And it's been in the brand since the very inception, because Mint Mobile, the whole shtick of Mint Mobile is that it's small challenger brand that's different than large telcos.
Yeah, of course. And I personally think that technology is something great. I started as a digital person. I started with social media in 2013, 2012. And I personally, I'm in love with technologies. This iPhone, it's part of my body, right? But personally, I think that creativity is going to be the thing that stands out 100 years from now. And Bill Bernbach once said, you know, uh, it's not going to be the technologies; it's going to be the creative idea. And it was 1980 something, you know, and I still believe Bill Bernbach.
I think probably 1970 something.
Maybe.
Because I think Bernbach actually didn't live that long.
He died,
of
I think,
leukemia
at the end of
53.
80s, something like that, from
I think even
cancer.
earlier, leukemia. But I just read over the weekend the book about the Think Small campaign.
Yep,
Our local publisher actually published the book in Serbian.
that's great.
So they've sent a copy, and thank you, Eugen.
I bought it from Amazon from his family, family member, like for fucking stones. But I adore this guy. He's kind of revolutionary, and the Think Small campaign. It works even now. It works even now.
Yeah, and I've actually been amazed in the book how long that campaign is. We say think small, but and usually people think two particular
And
ads. The lemon one and the think small one. But actually, what was also in many polls one of the best TV ads of all time is how does the man who drives the snowplow gets to the snowplow with a Volkswagen?
Have you ever wondered how the
Yeah.
man who drives? This is
That's
amazing.
also
ad.
part of the same campaign.
Yep.
The funeral one when everybody's crying and he's actually giving his
This is my
estate.
favorite ad of all time. Each and every copywriter have to look that and print it out and kind of as the Bible of copywriting, because it's really funny, and you can imagine funeral, and then you have selling car through funeral copywriting, storytelling, and the storytelling there is kind of amazing. You know, it's amazing ad.
The one that I didn't know about and that I found out in the book and was blown away by is one of the things is that the design of the bug has never changed. Like it hasn't changed for 15 years. And one of the second creative director on the project had an idea called Will We Ever Kill the Bug? And the copy of the ad was, no, we're going to keep it like that. But the visual was the Volkswagen Beetle upside down.
Yep.
But there was no CGI at that time. They had an actual Volkswagen Beetle gently lifted down by a crane and then quickly take photos before it collapses.
Yep.
And like that particular photo is in the book as well.
Yeah, this book is great, and if you have it in Serbian, buy it right now. I bought it in English, buy it in English too, because it's different, I think. It's a Bible.
Anyways, two creatives easily get distracted and fall into discussing other people's creative work. Let's get back to the point of the podcast. Let's move into the final part, which is how to create a good case study. Now, you've talked at length how you've won many awards for work at Proof. Give some pointers to people who are preparing their YUB mix cases right now. Like, okay, everybody knows the basics. Like, explain what the problem was well, give us the sexy way how you've introduced the solution, and then focus on the results. We all know that. But
and we're
besides
talking.
that?
Yep, we're talking about books, right? And there is this amazing book from Greg Ampe called "From Code to Gold Case." This is amazing. Greg has, I think, over 50 Cannes Lions won. And this book is my Bible. And again, it's a sport. It's a sport again. Writing case studies, you have to train that, your creative muscle, and it's really a hard process. It should start like from the brainstorming session that you pop up with the idea, and then it's like 4 or 5 months. You have to deliver the great work that the work deserves. If you have a great project, just invest in that and put a lot of effort to show that to the world. And it's not the problem, it's not the solution, it's not the result. The most important thing is the thesis, and you have to have your thesis right.
What's
And
a thesis?
kind of what are you fighting? What is the antagonist and what is the protagonist? What is your hero? What is the whole thing about? And it should be 2 minutes, because I've judged a lot of shows, and if you see kind of 1:43, you're kind of okay. These guys are amateurs. It should be straight 2 minutes, and there are two types of jurors. You have to know that. And it's because of the pandemic. The shorts jurors that are judging from home, and they have easily distracted from anything. They judge the first 30 seconds. That's it. And the other guys that are judging the whole case study, which is really important. You have to be entertained by the case study. It's kind of advertise ad for your ad. That's it.
One of the things that I've noticed is that when people don't have their thesis particularly right, they tend to over complicate things.
Yep.
They tend to put no, don't put 3 KPIs, put 6 KPIs. And what that ends up as is it muddles the initial premise, and it's not clear what the case is. So 2 minutes is actually not that long of time, and I don't think people realize that there's actually 2 moments that you're refereeing a case. First is when you're doing it on your own and you're looking at it, but then the second one is when we discuss. And then you hear what your colleagues are saying, and then you go back to your grades, and then you switch them a little bit. And then what usually happens is that somebody has fallen asleep. Like there's 10 of us there. And then somebody says, well, this campaign is great. And everybody's like,
why?
no. Everybody's like, obviously no, but we're going to let you explain.
Yeah.
And then through discussions, consensus opinion emerges mostly. But that only becomes easy if you were really clear in your case. Because if I am trying to argue based on one KPI and you are trying to argue on a different KPI and we don't know what exactly was your solution, then you're not going to win that refereeing after the referee.
Yep, of course. And you have to clear the case study up, just to put the right words, be simple. And yesterday I was in talk with my copywriter, and he tended to be like really using these words that are really fancy in English, and I'm like kind of no, just write it down, simple yet effective. I can remember one thing that it stood in my mind from a case study from Epica. They created these benches that are leveling up with the water because of the environmental crisis, and one of the line of the case study was, and people sit down to take a stand, and you're like, this is so simple. So basically, it's storytelling, and you have to start with the problem. This is the antagonist, and then you have the hero, which is the creative idea. It should start 17 or 20 seconds after the problem, after the case study, and then the story in crescendo, and then you have the hero wins with the results, but don't put impressions in there. 3 million impressions in country with put something that it's really matters. That's it.
Yeah, but I think that we're currently kind of lost with digital metrics. What would be a relevant digital metric now? It started that digital agencies, we are a digital first agency, mostly creative now, but we've a lot of time we spent in digital only. And we were always there to know the KPI better than the big guys, better than the integrated campaigns, integrated agencies, and so forth. And like for years, we pulled that trick, like, why are you putting Facebook fans when that's irrelevant, etc. But right now, I'm not even sure. Like, if I'm looking at all the metrics available in digital media right now, I need to look at impressions, I need to look at reach, I need to look at engagement. I can't pin down one KPI, even if I'm talking just a broad brand awareness campaign.
Yep.
Or I'm talking about a performance marketing campaign, and then I don't need an award, then I just tell my client how much money I've made them.
If it matters of case study, go back to your thesis. This is your North Star. And when you're going back to the thesis, to the problem, you're gonna know what are the right results, right? What is my problem? What I'm trying to find a way to advertise better, to get a solution for. Go back. This is your North Star. It's kind of the creative brief, you know. You can put it on your wall and just go back and go back.
When you said people sit down to take a stand, that's like a very good piece of copy.
Yep.
How important is for the case video itself to be creative work, to be fun, to be engaging? Like, is it possible to have a great campaign and like me just talking to a camera? This was our campaign. It was awesome. This was the problem, etc. Would that work?
No. We had this type of beat in our local festival. A guy was kind of, I don't know, he decided that this is really great creative work, and he was kind of talking head. This was the type of case study that they've done. It didn't work. The case study, it's a creative work. It's storytelling. It's art for your art, and it has to be done with from the creatives.
You said it's an ad for your ad.
Right.
Why are there so many ads for our ads then bad? Like why are we? I don't know. In Serbia there is the saying "u obućara pocepane cipele." It means you're not that good at your own work. Like why is the advertising world struggling with cases so much?
Because, you know, we have a lot of work, and we start to make the case studies 3 days before the deadline of the festival, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. Start to create your case study 4 or 5 months before the first show, the first festival. And then improve it. It's a constant work on that. It's your work. You have to find free time to do that. And that being said, we at Proof suck in that. And we're trying to change it. And this year we started like soon enough. I hope so.
How about this? This is something that I've heard an agency has done once. We haven't done it. For a pitch, the agency has said their case study. It was an imagined case study, like the accounts were acting what is going to happen. But the client received a case study video, which was the same video 7 months later once the campaign was done.
Yep, we've done something like that, not with case video, but with a board. We went there with a board, but it's a common sense. During our creative council in the Bina network in Paris, at Hergé's offices, and there were like 2 or 3 agencies. They entered their future work. It wasn't done. It was only pitched to the client. They entered the work with case study, and I was like amazed from that. But board, it's perfectly fine. You can do that.
Is it possible to make a good case out of a bad campaign?
It's possible, but it's going to be really, really mostly shortlist or bronze, but you have to be really good storyteller, and you have to hope for generous jury. But then again, a great case study can make an average campaign looks better, and then a bad case study could destroy a great idea, and I believe in that.
Angel, thank you very much for agreeing to do this whole podcast very ad hoc. Like we basically met, like we got email introduced like only a couple of days ago. So this entire process has been taking like, for example, 2-3 days, I think.
Yep.
So thank you very much for preparing and for coming here to do this episode.
Thank you for having me again, and yeah, good luck with this amazing environment that you're creating, and got a love independency,
Okay, and if you've come all the way here, then you must liked something about this show. Unfortunately, we only have one other episode in English, and that's episode 159 with Chris Farmer, where we talk about brands, and Chris explains why he believes that branding is a serious business that we take way too seriously. I really hope that I will have more episodes in English, and then you will be able to listen to something more, but more important than that, zdravo i vama svima koji ste slušali mene kako pričam tabanom engleski. Ako ste tu i dalje i sad tražite neku narednu epizodu, možda nije loša epizoda 95 koja je da li je marketing manipulacija, koja je iz istog ovog koša kako je raditi u marketingu suštinski, da se zapitate da li želite da budete u agenciji ili ne, da li želite da uopšte se bavite ovim poslom ili ne i tako dalje. Želim vam do slušanja, jer kao što znate, podcaste niko živ ne gleda, i odok da nađem neku novu žrtvu da spremi neku narednu temu.
Vi slušate Žiško podcast.